Starts with breaking news.
Breaking news we are following closely this morning. A police chase ends at an overnight crash. That crash happened near 26th and Ames. According to the Douglas County officials, the Nebraska State Patrol was handling this chase. An ambulance was requested just after 11:30 p.m. A person was taken to the hospital. Our photographer who was at the scene saw another person being taken away from the scene in a police car. Now, details on what led up to that chase are limited. We'll let you know as soon as we know.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Thanks so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley, joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford and Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lawrence. I feel like it's been a couple days since we've had all four of us.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. All right, and just to welcome everybody back, it's going to be a hot forecast for your Friday.
Exactly what you want on an October weekend. A lot of 90s on the way. So we made it to 90 yesterday. I think we're going to do that again today, and probably just a little bit higher into the 90s today and tomorrow. So you get this beautiful start here, colorful sunrise, 65 degrees. So we stayed about 1 to 2 degrees warmer than I expected this morning, and that may translate into the afternoon. It did so yesterday, so we'll see how high we can go today. So a lot of 60s out there to start. And from that, we're going to warm at a pretty good clip. Couple of 50s once you get outside the metro. Those will all even out here once the sun rises. And the muggy meter's kind of hanging out in the low end of the muggy range for a while into the afternoon and early evening. So we'll watch that be a little bit of a factor today. South winds 20 to 25 miles per hour with those gusts. Not as strong as they'll be tomorrow. Those will pick up quite a bit. But you can see how it takes the 60s, warms them up into the 80s by lunch. Yeah, low 80s by lunch, and then into the afternoon, 80s to near 90. I think we can get to about 91 or so for the afternoon high. Notice 90 in Tacoma. Some of these 89s could be 90s as well. They did so yesterday. I expect something similar today with the breeze around. And you'll notice by 7 starting to fall back, a warm evening for high school football. It'll, at best, you can see fall off into the upper 70s by the close to the end of some of those games. So bank on a warm one tonight, and then later on overnight, watch for a couple of clouds that bubble up tomorrow morning. There may be a stray shower in those to start Saturday, but they should fizzle as the sun rises. We'll watch to see how those interact with things, but tomorrow's the day that has the best chance of getting anywhere near a record. 92 is the record. That was set 20 years ago tomorrow. 91 is in the forecast. So we'll see how we adjust. The south wind is going to help warm us. It'll easily gust 30 to 35. Would not be surprised if we gust to near 40 miles per hour. That could increase the fire danger a little bit tomorrow as well. Another factor with all of this. The 3 o'clock kickoff in Lincoln. Unfortunately, the first half of the game is going to be right during the hottest part of the day. We'll be upper 80s to right around 90, probably peak at 91 during the game sometime. The south winds will be there all day, so that could impact tailgating. Make sure you weigh down those tents, and then it could impact game time as well with a south wind whipping through the stadium. And then we'll go 87 on Sunday. So there you go, the 3 days with the heat, the last 3 days of this. And it'll be interesting to see where we end up. Could have a top 5 warmest start to October ever. So.
You bet we could. All right, we noticed on Sunday there's a chance of rain. Typically when we got some rain, it can cool us off. We don't know with this forecast what's going to happen.
It does look like we'll at least get a couple of cool days. So there's some good news for you if you're wanting some fall. It's not going to be that fall weather that locks in and sticks with us, though, unfortunately. We do have some storm chances, and Monday's going to be cooler with the clouds and these rain chances. Tuesday still has some in the morning hours as well. And you look at the rainfall potential here over the next 5 days. This is going to fill in and load here very shortly. But what this looks at is the lighter amounts to the north, the heavier amounts to the south with this over the course of the next 5 days. And this is mostly Sunday night, Monday, and into Tuesday morning, where some 1 to 2 inch totals here. The blues and the purples show you that. Best odds for the 1 inch plus totals probably going to be south of I-80. That model's been leaning pretty heavily with that. A little drier the farther north you go over the course of these 3 days here. But look what it does. Clouds and rain keep us in the 60s likely most of Monday, 70s on Tuesday. Once we get sunlight, that's going to be what bumps us into the 70s. So we're likely going to be back above average by the end of the week. But one somewhat cooler day. Average is right around 70 this time of year. To give you one perspective.
That's 68's a trip.
Yeah. That'll be weird.
Quick drop off for sure.
Yep.
Okay, in the meantime, talking about traffic this morning, you have a first alert to a brand new crash.
This is I-80 that we're, heard that before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Every day.
Well,
every day.
Slightly different spot where we're talking about this crash being. This is as you're approaching 72nd, so we're not quite to where we've been seeing that work that's been causing all kinds of delays over the last few mornings. Let's take a look at this. This is over on the right shoulder, so it's not actually in the traffic zone, but despite that, you are still looking at some delays that are showing up as you're getting between 60th and 72nd. So watch for some slow travel. This is likely people seeing the flashing lights in that scene and then checking up as a result of this, and we'll just wait this out. The camera has decided it's going to refresh on us, so this will refresh. This is just what it does, but basically what you want to watch for is some delays that will be in this place. People are going to see those flashing lights and then they'll end up having to check up as they see that. Here we go. There's our view. Told you it would come back to us. There's what's going on. Looks like now we have that right lane blocked off in that area, right near the entrance off of 60th. So if you're coming in off to 60th, you're really going to need to use caution in this area. Looks like it's about to crash on us again. So let's just go back to the map and show you what's going on. So this entrance, you notice how slow it is here. That cop car is kind of angled there on the ramp. So my recommendation would be to go to over here to 72nd and enter off of there, and then you can sidestep this entire situation with that over on the right-hand side. Looks like the right lane now blocked, so we could see some delays build as a result of that crash. We'll keep you posted on the latest with that. Otherwise, we're actually doing okay near that zone that's been all the problems, the source of the problems over the last few mornings, right around I. I'll keep an eye on it because we have still had some work happening around there and things were starting to slow down a little bit ago. So I'll keep an eye on it and keep you posted if that does start to happen once again. But otherwise, we've been pretty smooth aside from that crash site there on I-80 westbound. So keep you posted with the latest on that, and hopefully we can avoid some of the total disasters of commutes we've had the last few mornings.
Not on a Friday. Yeah. Okay, Jared, thanks.
Looked at that message, I said, okay, I'm going to hope that this is a nightmare and that I will wake up and I won't have that text message.
Omaha Mayor John Ewing calling Sunday morning one of the worst moments of his career when he found out Omaha boxing champ Terrence Bud Crawford had been pulled over for reckless driving. Well, Crawford and 3 other people riding in his car were ordered out at gunpoint after 1 in the morning on Sunday. The 2 guns in their vehicle were legal.
Now, Mayor John Ewing says he wants to improve police-community relationships in the aftermath of this incident. He says that moving in the right direction starts by looking into procedure for traffic stops where there are guns present.
That is in part, a big part of the issue is that there's a lot of officer discretion.
Ewing says he wants to add more de-escalation training for officers and train the community on what to do if they are stopped by police. Mayor John Ewing, along with the police chief, are planning to hold a public listening session that's next week.
Well, earlier this week, we were told by Omaha police they hoped to have the investigation wrapped up by the end of this week. To recap, here's a timeline of what we know so far from OPD. Early Sunday morning, an officer pulled over a car for driving recklessly.
According to the police department, an officer at the scene saw a gun in the car while speaking with that driver. A member of Crawford's security team who was in the car when this stop happened says that's not true. He says Crawford let police know they were legally registered guns inside the car in accordance with the law.
Now, police say for the officer's safety, all 4 people in the car were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. Police issued Crawford a citation for reckless driving. We are told all the guns in the car were, again, legally registered.
First Alert 6 continues to investigate the plans to turn one of Nebraska's corrections facilities into an ICE detention center.
An update on where McCook Work Ethic Camp inmates are going to make room when we come back.
All right, welcome back on this Friday morning. That's a nice shot overlooking some of the construction going on, of course, downtown. That building seems to be getting taller. I think it might be done, though, right? As far as the height goes.
Could be. Every once in a while you see something working up there.
Is it done? Is it not done yet as far as the height? All right, time now 7:14. Let's get back to the forecast this morning. Of course, we've been talking about the heat for much of the weekend. Also, a first alert to some rain chances, too.
Yeah, something we'll watch for Sunday that'll bring an end to the heat. So we got 3 pretty warm days leading up to that. You got the rain chances late Sunday. That'll start to work their way through the area, and then ultimately what's going to happen is likely clouds and some rain will keep us cooler on Monday, the way it looks. So that'll be the one day that's probably a little bit below average, mostly due to the clouds around. Now, let's talk a little bit about the wind that's going to help prop up the temperature the next few days, because that'll be noteworthy. 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts into the afternoon on later on today. Then on Saturday, we're looking at gusts that start in the 20 to 30 range and pick up in the afternoon, 30 to 40. Notice Lincoln at 3 o'clock, kickoff, probably gusting 30 to 35, maybe even a little bit higher during the game. So that'll impact tailgating beforehand. That'll impact the game. At least it'll keep the air moving because it's going to be hot. Then it stays pretty windy overnight into Sunday morning, and you get one more windy day on Sunday with gusts out of the southwest, probably near 30 to 35 until late afternoon and evening when a front moves in, kind of calms things down a little bit as far as the wind goes. Now, we'll watch the muggy meter. Today it might be up there a little bit. Tomorrow it drops. Sunday get a little spike with that front, and then a pretty good drop in the muggy meter, at least for the first part of next week. Before it tries to rebound a little bit. So that's some decent news with the humidity, but today it's going to be all about the heat, up to 91 for the high later on this afternoon, and tomorrow we'll go 91 again. It's going to be close to a record. 92 is the record, so we'll see if we can at least tie that with trends in the forecast. A hot one down in Lincoln, regardless, near 3 o'clock. We're looking at temperatures right near 90 degrees in the first half of the game and a little bit cooler by the end of it. But it's blustery. It's a very windy day on Saturday. Saturday's likely the strongest wind of the stretch. 87 on Sunday. We'll talk about those storm chances on Sunday. You got the possibility of a little morning shower activity on Sunday with kind of some dying showers and some clouds drifting in. And then pretty quiet during the middle of the day. By 6, 7 o'clock, notice a couple of thunderstorms trying to bubble up. And there you go. They'll run north or southwest to northeast along the front. And that's where we could get some heavier rain. If you're watching near and south of I-80, you got the best bet of getting some 1-inch plus rainfall out of Sunday night, Monday, and into Tuesday. So keep an eye on that over the course of the weekend. If you got some Monday plans, it's likely to be cloudy with some on and off rounds of rain. We get a little closer. Hopefully we can help you time those out just a little bit better.
So look at that. We see 60s and 70s after that rain. Is that just a hint of fall, or do you think this will stick around some fall-like temperatures?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm going to call it a hint. It looks like by the end of next week, we may get close to 80 again. Towards the end, ultimately it'll probably hinge on the timing of these thunder showers that we have in the forecast, but this is just a little blip, I think, of some cooler air. And you look, odds lean, well, that's not the map I wanted to show you. There you go. Warmer than average weather, still trying to win out into October. That likely means a lot of 70s, but again, we could pop up near 80 degrees. Not really seeing any big pattern changes. Just kind of get grazed by a cold front, essentially, and see what it can do to us early next week.
All right. In the meantime, let's get an update on traffic this morning. So far, find the wood, knock on it if you can, because
Your head.
because so far the traffic has not been as bad compared to many days this week that we've seen.
Oh my gosh, we've had some rough ones.
It's been a mess.
So hopefully this means we're closing the week out on the best commute, because we haven't had a ton of problems. And that even includes our biggest problem spot that we've had through the course of the week, I-80, as you're going westbound right around I Street. Now, I will say we still have work happening around here. So you need to use caution as you're heading through this stretch. If you're merging in off of southbound 680 into that interchange, there's still going to be workers that are present here, and that could cause some delays as we continue to see the commute go on. But right now it's actually moving through here in okay shape. So that's encouraging that that's not a big problem. We do still have our crash that's westbound in between 60th and 72nd on the right shoulder. Some delays present as you make your way through there, and we had the right lane briefly closed as a result of that. So watch for that as you're heading through there. It's right near the end of that ramp where you're looking at things kind of bottling up as you're entering in off of 60th. Aside from that, though, you can see even further down as you get into that other construction zone on I-80 right around Giles. That's just slightly slow, no big delay that's in place there. And when you zoom out, just a couple spots where things are a little bit sluggish, right around Blair High as you're going westbound towards 680, and in Benson, another spot where we've had some frequent delays at times over the last couple of weeks, but nothing that's a huge problem. I'll watch these couple of spots where we're starting to get some minor delays, 370 approaching I-80, Dodge as you're around 144th. Those can be some sun glare flare-up spots, so that's in a couple of areas where things may start to deteriorate over the next half hour, so be ready for maybe some low visibility as a result of that. But all told, this is a lot better than what we've been seeing the last few mornings, so hopefully we can keep it that way.
All right. Fingers are crossed. Jared, thank you. Based on the original timeline, Governor Jim Pillen is a couple of weeks away from turning one of Nebraska's corrections facilities into an ICE detention center.
First Alert 6 Investigates has been tracking where inmates who had called this work ethic camp in McCook home are now being moved. On the day of Governor Pillen's announcement, the work ethics camp held 194 men. Well, that number is now down to 98. So where are these inmates being sent?
Well, many have headed to community corrections, usually the last stop before re-entry into society. We asked the Inspector General of Nebraska Corrections how he thinks the rest of the inmates will be moved out of McCook.
A lot of parole hearings at the community corrections centers in the next couple of weeks. So I think a lot of people will be paroled, and that'll open up a lot of spots for those men to move to.
We counted 83 individuals who are on this month's parole board agenda, either at the work ethic camp or the community corrections.
Well, still ahead this morning, the trip of a lifetime for some Chicago fifth graders.
Find out where they're headed when we come back.
On to this morning, the moment Swifties around the world have been waiting for.
Waiting and waiting. Her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, dropped overnight. The album is actually Taylor's shortest since her debut self-titled album, coming in at 12 songs and just over 40 minutes in length. Okay. Now this week, Spotify announced The Life of a Showgirl was the platform's most pre-saved album ever.
That
Is
doesn't
that shocking?
surprise me at all.
Not at all.
No.
I think I gotta take a listen just to see what it's all like. Each album of hers is just a little bit different, right?
It is. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of hit or miss with Swift, so we'll see if this one hits.
Okay.
Jarrett, you gotta watch out. The Swifties, they're gonna get you.
Hey, she has some good stuff.
She does, yeah. All right, some Chicago students are packing their bags for a once-in-a-lifetime trip.
So the fifth graders who took part in a mock conclave months ago are now headed to Rome to see the new pope in person. The schoolyard felt like St. Peter's Square. 5 months later, the conclave kids have plans to see Rome for real. Just days before the trip, these kids hosted a special guest, Pope Leo's brother, so they're really getting ready for this trip. The kids will attend a general audience in St. Peter's Square, and of course, they're going to be dressed to impress to see the Pope.
That's big time stuff.
That is big
really
time.
a big deal.
That's a nice trip.
Yeah, they'll feel very personal as well. Didn't they say Chicago?
I'm sorry?
Didn't the kids from Chicago?
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll feel very personal.
You think they'll talk about the White Sox at all? The Pope supposedly was a big White Sox fan.
Could a little bit.
Maybe.
Settle down, Cubs fan.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
Everyone.
playoffs.
Oh, and show everybody your socks before we go.
Got the nice baseball playoff socks.
Yes.
So, yeah, pretty pumped.
All right, everybody, we're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. Of course, you can watch it streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Friday and to your weekend.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Happy Friday, everybody. It is now 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Now to the latest on a crash this morning with Jarrett Lansford.
Yeah, this is I-80 as you're going between 60th and 72nd. We've seen some delays as a result of this. It's actually over on the right shoulder. We briefly had the right lane blocked. That's opened back up. But watch for that on the shoulder. It's right past that entrance ramp from 60th to westbound I-80. So there you can see some of the delays that are in place as you're heading through that stretch. Really, though, that's the biggest problem that we're seeing in the early going. Starting to get some delays on Dodge eastbound right around 156th or so. We'll keep an eye on that as the morning commute continues to go on. Rusty.
Thanks, Jared. Out there right now, another warm start in the 60s. We're going to take that and likely turn it into some 90s later on today. So 65 degrees. That's where we're at the moment. A little bit of a southeast wind. Wind gust forecast is going to go 20 to 25 miles per hour at times into the afternoon. So a little bit breezy, and you can see where it's going to take us. I think by 5 o'clock, we're already starting to fall a little bit after getting to that high of 91 today. So a very warm afternoon, a breezy one, abundant sunshine, and, well, factor warmth into your Friday Night Fever plans. You got mid-80s at kickoff, falling off into the 70s as we get towards the end of the games. Again, upper 70s at the coolest. That south breeze helps prop up the number 2. 91 on Saturday, 87 on Sunday, the way it looks. So these 3 days will be the hottest we have over this stretch. It looks a lot cooler, thankfully, by next week. Aaron?
Breaking news, we are following a police chase ends in a crash overnight. The crash happening in the area of 26th and Ames. Douglas County officials say the Nebraska State Patrol was handling this chase. One person was taken to the hospital.
It is 7:28, and we're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.